Masculine energy, a term rooted in gender archetypes, is an abstract concept. It does not necessarily relate to biological sex or gender identity, but rather it represents a set of traits like strength, independence, assertiveness, logic. When balanced, masculine energy can be empowering. It drives ambition, fosters resilience, and encourages strategic thinking. However, when out of balance, it can result in what is often termed as wounded or toxic masculinity, which are in many ways different from each other. What means wounded masculine energy mean? At its core, masculine energy exists as one of the polarities, inextricably linked to feminine energy. Although it is commonly associated with men, this energy is not exclusively masculine. All living beings, regardless of gender, have the ability to resonate with and embody this frequency. In this video, I will focus specifically on wounded masculinity, the ways in which this core energy is distorted, suppressed, and leads to the paralyzing effects of the male experience. For it is in restoring healthy, balanced masculinity that we find the potential for profound personal and societal transformation. So consider the core behavioral signs of wounded masculine energy. The first sign of wounded masculine energy, the paralysis of inaction. It's a state where the vibrant dance of life turns into a still tableau, where the melody of ambition and assertion falls silent. The reasons behind this paralysis are as multifaceted as they are profound. Rooted in fear of failure, of vulnerability, of the unknown, this inertia binds the spirit, trapping it in a limbo between the desire to move forward and the dread of taking the first step. The landscape of the mind becomes akin to a labyrinth, where every turn seems to lead back to the same place of stagnation. The potential for action, for change, simmers below the surface, yet it's stifled, smothered by the heavy cloak of doubt. What if I falter? What if my efforts are in vain? These questions become chains, tethering the soul to a post of inaction. The journey out of the paralysis of inaction calls not for a Herculean effort, but for the courage to take one step. Just one step, however small, towards the desired direction. It's in this act of moving, of daring to disturb the still waters of inertia, that momentum is born. With each step, the fog of fear begins to lift, revealing the path that was always there, waiting. This awakening is not a solitary affair. It's supported by the invisible threads of connection that bind us to others. Sharing the struggle, seeking guidance, allowing the wisdom and encouragement of others to seep into the cracks of our fortress of fear. These are the balms that soothe the paralysis of inaction. Picture yourself embodying Sisyphus, the mythic figure condemned to push a boulder up a hill, only to watch it roll back down for eternity. This ancient myth resonates deeply with the modern manifestation of wounded masculine energy, the Mask of Perpetual Labor. In this relentless pursuit of work, tasks, and busyness, you find a convenient escape. It's a labyrinth constructed of endless deadlines, meetings, and projects, each turn revealing another task that demands your attention, pulling you deeper into the maze. This perpetual motion becomes a shield, a fortress you build around your heart to protect it from the vulnerability of introspection and emotion. The irony, however, is that this labor, this ceaseless toil, is Sisyphean in nature. No matter how much you achieve, no matter how many accolades or successes you amass, the boulder of unresolved emotions and unaddressed wounds relentlessly rolls back, demanding to be confronted anew. The hill represents your inner landscape, steep and treacherous, littered with the boulders of past hurts, fears, and unmet needs. This mask of busyness serves a dual purpose. On the surface, it projects an image of productivity, of societal value and success. Yet beneath this facade lies the true function of the mask: avoidance. It's a strategy deeply ingrained to sidestep the discomfort of emotional vulnerability. To be still, to pause in the labor, means to face the whispers of the heart, the echoes of pain, longing, and unfulfilled desires. The toll of wearing this mask is profound. It strains the sinews of your soul, leaving you exhausted, disconnected from the wellspring of joy and creativity that lies buried beneath the rubble of constant activity. The relentless push to achieve and to prove your worth becomes a chain, binding you to a wheel of dissatisfaction and emptiness. Yet, liberation from this cycle is within grasp. It begins with the courage to lay down the boulder, to step back from the hill, and to sit with the silence of your own being. It's in these moments of stillness that the mask begins to dissolve, revealing the visage of your true self, unburdened by the weight of perpetual labor. Envision yourself as a gladiator of old, stepping into an arena where the ground is littered not with sand, but with the fragments of self-esteem and worth, sharpened by the eyes of spectators and fellow combatants alike. This arena is not built of stone and mortar, but constructed from the invisible pressures and expectations of society, where every move is scrutinized, every failure magnified. This is the battleground of the third sign of wounded masculine energy, the arena of comparison. In this modern Colosseum, your weapons are not sword and shield, but achievements and accolades, wielded not against beasts, but against an even more formidable opponent, the perpetual measuring of oneself against others. The clash of metal resonates as the relentless drive to prove your worth, to emerge victorious in a competition that, in truth, has no end. The roots of this ceaseless combat run deep, entangled with the wounded masculine's fear of inadequacy and the desperate need for validation. It's a battle fueled by the belief that one's value is contingent upon being better, stronger, more successful than those around. Yet, this belief is a mirage, a trick of the light that distorts the true nature of worth and connection. The ramifications of living in this state of constant comparison are profound. Relationships, instead of being sanctuaries of support and mutual growth, become arenas of their own, where collaboration is overshadowed by competition. The joy of others' successes becomes a source of envy rather than celebration, a poison that seeps into the soul, corroding it from within. Moreover, the gladiator's plight is a lonely one. Surrounded by fellow combatants, there is an isolation that comes from viewing everyone as an adversary rather than an ally. The helmet of comparison not only obscures your vision, but also muffles the voices of camaraderie and companionship. leaving you ensnared in a silent struggle. Breaking free from this arena requires a radical act of courage, the courage to lay down your arms and step out of the battle. It demands a reevaluation of worth, an understanding that it cannot be quantified by comparison but is inherent, a birthright that needs no validation from external achievements or the approval of others. Embracing this truth opens the door to a new way of being, where success is measured not by how high you rise above others, but by how true you stay to yourself. It cultivates a mindset of abundance, where there is room for everyone to succeed, where the victories of others add to, rather than diminish, your own. Imagine yourself as an architect, meticulously designing and constructing towering castles by the shore. Yet, these are no ordinary structures. They are made of sand, vulnerable to the whims of the tide. With every wave, a wall crumbles, a turret washes away, compelling you to rebuild, to reassert control over the impermanent. This Sisyphean task mirrors the fourth sign of wounded masculine energy, the illusion of control. Within the confines of this illusion, you find a false sense of security, a belief that by governing every aspect of your environment and relationships, you can shield yourself from the unpredictability of life. It's an attempt to hold the world in the palm of your hand, to dictate the flow of the tides with sheer will. However, this desire for dominance is akin to grasping at the wind. The tighter you clutch, the less you hold. The roots of this relentless pursuit of control often lie in a deep-seated fear of vulnerability, of being exposed to the chaos and uncertainty that life inherently brings. It's a defense mechanism, a suit of armor constructed to fend off the perceived dangers of the unknown. Yet this armor is double-edged. While it may offer a semblance of protection, it also isolates, creating barriers between you and the richness of genuine connection. The consequences of living under the illusion of control are manifold. Relationships strain under the weight of dominance, as the natural give and take is replaced by a one-sided directive. Opportunities for growth and learning are missed, as the rigid boundaries of control stifle the spontaneous and serendipitous. The joy of living is dampened as life becomes a checklist to be managed rather than an adventure to be experienced. Moreover, the quest for control is exhausting, a constant battle against the inevitable tide of change. Each wave of life that washes over your sandcastles reminds you of the futility of your efforts, yet the fear of letting go, of trusting in the flow of life, keeps you tethered to your task. Liberation from this illusion begins with the recognition of its futility and the acknowledgement of your own vulnerability. It's a journey inward to the heart of your fears, where you can gently untangle the threads of control that bind you. It requires a leap of faith, a trust in the natural order and rhythm of life, and an acceptance of the beauty of impermanence. In letting go of the illusion of control, you find true freedom. The tides of life no longer pose a threat, but become a rhythm to dance to. Your relationships flourish in the soil of mutual respect and equality, and your spirit soars on the wings of trust. The architect of sandcastles becomes a child of the universe, in harmony with the vast, beautiful ocean of life. Imagine yourself embarking on an Odyssey, not across the wine-dark seas of myth, but through the labyrinthine corridors of the digital age. Your vessel is not a ship, but a screen. Your companions not heroes, but avatars and characters. This journey is emblematic of the fifth sign of wounded masculine energy, the escape into shadow through the siren song of distraction. In this modern epic, the sirens are not enchantresses perched on cliffs, but the endless allure of gaming, binge-watching, and the myriad distractions offered by the digital realm. These diversions sing a sweet, hypnotic melody, promising refuge from the stormy seas of emotional turmoil and the monsters lurking in the depths of the psyche. The appeal of this escape is undeniable. In the glow of the screen, the complexities of life are reduced to binary simplicity. Challenges are confined to virtual realms, and the only victories or defeats are those scripted by writers or coded into games. Here, in the shadow, you can don the mask of invincibility, untouched by the vulnerabilities that chase you in the waking world. Yet, this odyssey into distraction is a voyage into illusion. The further you sail, the more you find yourself adrift, disconnected from the shores of reality and the tangible connections that anchor life with meaning. The monsters you sought to evade grow in the darkness, fed by neglect, their whispers turning into roars that disturb the false peace of escapism. The consequences of this escape are multifaceted. Relationships wither in the arid soil of inattention. Opportunities for personal growth and healing are lost amidst the noise of the next episode, the next level, the next scroll. The essence of time, once a river flowing towards the sea of dreams and aspirations, becomes a stagnant pool, its waters muddied with regret. Breaking free from the siren song of distraction requires an act of heroism akin to that of Odysseus, a willful binding to the mast of self-awareness, a determined closing of the ears to the call of easy escapes. It demands a recognition of the void these distractions are meant to fill, and a courageous facing of the fears and wounds that dwell in the depths of your being. The journey back to the world of light and connection is a challenging one. It involves navigating through the straits of withdrawal and the temptation to return to familiar shores of distraction. Yet, it is also a voyage of rediscovery, a rekindling of the passions and pursuits that truly nourish the soul. As you emerge from the shadow, you find that the monsters were not as fearsome as they seemed, that they were, in fact, guardians of your deepest strengths and insights. Relationships bloom anew in the sunlight of your presence. Opportunities for growth and fulfillment abound in the landscape of engagement and participation. In the realm of the wounded masculine, there exists a formidable structure, more impenetrable than any physical fortress. This is the Citadel of denial, the sixth sign of wounded masculine energy. It stands as a testament to the fear of vulnerability, a monument to the belief in self-sufficiency at the cost of true healing. Imagine this citadel as the ultimate defense mechanism, its walls thickened by layers of resistance to acknowledging pain, trauma, or the need for help. Within its confines, the wounded masculine proclaims its sovereignty, mistaking isolation for strength and silence for resilience. The banners that flutter atop its towers bear the insignia of stoicism and independence, a public declaration that assistance is neither needed nor desired. The foundation of this fortress is built upon a potent mix of societal expectations and personal insecurities. From an early age, many are taught to equate masculinity with toughness, emotional restraint, and the ability to endure pain without complaint. This indoctrination leads to the masonry of the Citadel being laid brick by brick, each layer representing a moment where vulnerability was suppressed, where the call for help was silenced by the fear of appearing weak. The Citadel, for all its might, casts a long shadow, within which lie the unhealed wounds and unacknowledged traumas of its architect. Relationships strain and crack under the pressure of unspoken pains. Opportunities for genuine connection are lost amidst the ramparts of detachment, and the soul, confined within these walls, yearns for the light of understanding and compassion. Breaking free from the citadel of denial requires a siege of the heart, a dismantling of the walls not with force, but with the gentle but persistent waters of self-reflection and acceptance. It necessitates a confrontation with the guardians at the gate, pride and fear. These sentinels, though formidable, cannot withstand the relentless advance of honesty and the willingness to be seen in one's entirety, strengths and vulnerabilities alike. The journey beyond the citadel is a pilgrimage towards healing. It involves traversing the moat of denial, scaling the walls of resistance, and finally, opening the gates to the restorative powers of therapy, counseling, and community. It's a path marked by the realization that true strength is found not in isolation, but in the courage to seek support, to share burdens, and to allow oneself to be helped. As the citadel crumbles, the landscape transforms. Where once stood a monolith to denial, now blooms a garden of connection and renewal. In this garden, the wounded masculine finds solace and strength not in the armor of stoicism, but in the vulnerability of healing. Relationships flourish in the richness of open communication, and the self, once besieged by the weight of unacknowledged pain, now thrives in the light of awareness and acceptance. In the ruins of the citadel, a new foundation is laid, one built on the understanding that true healing is not a solitary endeavor, but a journey shared with others, a journey towards wholeness and harmony. The journey through the landscape of wounded masculine energy, arduous though it may be, is a pilgrimage of return. It's a voyage back to balance, to the integration of energies that dance within us. Like the phoenix rises from ashes, so too can the wounded masculine be reborn, infused with resilience, wisdom, and harmony. As you stand at the precipice of this journey, remember the path of healing is not walked alone. Each step forward is a step towards unity, towards the collective healing of our world. So let us walk together into the light of a new dawn, where balance reigns, and the masculine, once wounded, now healed, stands whole.